When I first saw Spectre, I immediately noticed that it subtly paid homage to several other Bond films. There were some iconic moments that were clearly familiar yet different. I then went back and watched every other Bond film all over again, carefully taking notes. And I discovered that similarities existed between Spectre and all of the others. Even Never Say Never Again, Casino Royale, and, believe it or not, Austin Powers. I believe this is a brilliant filmmaking technique, and anyone who's aware of it will surely agree that Spectre is a great work of cinematic art. Look at the Sistine Chapel ceiling, for instance. Each individual image is excellent in its own right, but for Michelangelo to combine all of them logically into a composite work with a consistent theme took great skill and produced a masterpiece more magnificent than any of its individual parts. Similarly, Sam Mendes has incorporated some of Bond's most iconic, nostalgic elements into a single film that still feels new and exciting. Judging by the general consensus of keyboard critics, this has largely been missed. But I believe that after watching this video, where you'll see the similarities for yourself, you'll think very highly of Spectre. Spectre is not the first Bond film to pay homage to its predecessors. We saw many classic moments recreated in Die Another Day, and a few in Quantum of Solace. However, Spectre is unique by incorporating all of its predecessors. All of the Craig films have been progressively building the Bond character and his world. He became a 00, Moneypenny was introduced, and by the end of Skyfall, all of the elements are in place. The end of Skyfall's plot then continues directly into the plot of Spectre, much like the capture and interrogation of Mr. White in Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace. Now we're ready for a classic, generic Bond film, which is certainly what's suggested by the minimalist poster. And in one sense, that's true.
I've been here before.
But here, a subtle homage creates deeper meaning. This poster is very similar to that of License to Kill, except for the two women, who were obviously an afterthought anyway. Sure enough, the plot of both films was initially driven by Bond seeking to avenge his fallen colleague. The World Is Not Enough poster also featured a ghostly Spectre behind Bond, and in both films, Bond fights a global terrorist who's secretly allied to someone trying to destroy MI6. Now, let's look at the film itself.
What is this? Oh, shit. Where are you going?
I won't be long.
This is it.
Don't talk to any strange men. I'll be back.
Alla morte.
Alla morte. Bottoms up. Watch the birdie, you bastard.
Welcome.
Now, you said something about going down together?
That haunt me from my past as the stars begin to gather and the light begins to fade. The writings on the wall.
Ink's barely dry on this merger with MI5, and already they're itching for a chance to scrap the 00 program forever.
Since you took over, sir, you've had little use for the double O's.
We're going to bring British intelligence out of the Dark Ages into the light.
Chairman, ministers, today I've repeatedly heard how irrelevant my department has become. Why do we need agents? The 00 section, isn't it all rather quaint? So before you declare us irrelevant, ask yourselves, how safe do you feel?
I know your feelings then, but I insist you reactivate the double O's.
As you wish, sir.
As of this morning, you are officially grounded. I'm standing you down from all operations indefinitely.
This isn't a personal vendetta, 007. It's an assignment like any other. And if you can't treat it as such, coldly and objectively, the 008 can replace him. I'm relieving you from Operation Bedlam, 007.
But, sir, Blofeld's something of a must with me.
The same person who set me up then has just set me up again to get Zhao out, so I'm going after him.
The only place you're going is our evaluation centre in the Falklands. 00 status rescinded. You're removed from duty and suspended pending further investigation. Evening.
Come in.
Ah, Miss Moneypenny.
Good morning, Moneypenny.
Good morning, sir.
It's only the hour that's indecent.
Really? I've got your ticket to New York. Q has repaired your wristwatch and some background material on San Monique.
Thank you, Moneypenny.
If anything happens to me, 007, I need you to do something. Find a man called Marco Sciarra. I need you to come in.
And I would. But right now, I need to find the man who tried to kill you. Go back to sleep.
Connection terminated.
Smart blood. Microchips in your bloodstream allows us to track your movements in the field.
A recently developed harmless radioactive device.
Harmless?
Which sends out a homing signal to a special receiver.
What am I supposed to do with this?
Well, obviously, you swallow it.
So you can keep an eye on me?
Yes.
Will you do something for me? What do you have in mind, exactly? Make me disappear.
Wish I could make you vanish.
We've installed some rather interesting modifications. You see this arm here? Now open the top, and inside are your defense mechanism controls. Smoke screen, oil slick, rear bulletproof screen, and left and right front wing machine guns.
How can you talk like this? Can't you see I'm grieving?
No.
Madame, I've come to offer my sincere condolences.
Chiedo scusa.
After the success of our attacks in Hamburg and Tunisia, the aborted attack in Mexico City, and the death of our valued colleague, Marco Sciarra,
I regret to inform you all of the death of Spectre number 6. Colonel Jacques Bouvard was killed by an unknown assassin. His services will be greatly missed. We will now proceed with the area financial reports.
I'm still not sure that the Tierra project is the best use of Quantum's time.
Perhaps we should shift our focus to the Canadian.
This is the world's most precious resource. We need to control as much of it as we can.
Decided on the appropriate action. Let us now proceed with new business.
That's the bit I want to hear.
Cuckoo. Ciao, Mickey Mouse.
The Pale King. It looks like you've had dealings with him before. Quantum.
Of course, Mr. White.
That's him.
Transmission begins from Moneypenny. Identification confirmed. Onatop, Xenia, ex-Soviet fighter pilot. Current suspected links to the Yanis crime syndicate, St. Petersburg.
tell me where he is?
He's everywhere. Everywhere!
The first thing you should know about us is that we have people everywhere.
You have my word.
Your word? The word of an assassin?
How much are they paying you? What's it to you? We'll double it. Your word of honor? As an English gentleman?
There is the Blanchard Institute for Allergy Research.
Humour me. How does one train at Oxford and the Sorbonne, become a consultant, spend 2 years with Médecins Sans Frontières, and end up here?
Forgive me, but anyone might think you're hiding from something.
Major Amasova? Or may I call you Triple X?
So you know who I am?
You made quite an impression.
What else can you surmise, Mr. Bond?
About you, Miss Lind? Well, your beauty's a problem. You worry you won't be taken seriously.
Which one can...
I'm gonna have to get with Orphan.
All right.
Can I get you something, sir?
Vodka martini, shaken, not stirred.
I'm sorry, we don't serve alcohol.
A drink? A vodka martini?
Of course. Here you are, sir. 1 prolific digestive enzyme shake.
Do me a favor, will you? Throw that down the toilet. Cut out the middleman.
Lentil delight, dandelion salad, goat's cheese.
Beluga caviar, quail's eggs, vodka.
Foie gras.
Q puts himself in mortal danger by visiting Bond on the front line, something he previously did only in Octopussy. He also visited Bond in the field on other occasions, but always at safe locations with no enemies around. Q continues this later in Spectre, participating in the raid on C's office. Bond makes do when the wings break off his plane, just as in Live and Let Die, and somewhat reminiscent of his improvised cello toboggan in The Living Daylights after his car is destroyed.
Time to leave.
Mamma mia, che è successo? Oddio, tutto distrutto!
Dr. Swan, Q. Q, Dr. Swan.
Hello. Enchanted.
I thought there might be a mess to clean up.
Pam, this is Q, my uncle. Uncle, this is Miss Kennedy, my cousin.
Ah, we must be related.
Well into the film, Bond and the audience discover that the main villain is in fact not who we thought. It's someone who was apparently dead, just as in Diamonds Are Forever and GoldenEye.
Good evening, Mr. Bond.
Blofeld.
Alec? Back from the dead. No longer just an anonymous star on the memorial wall at MI6.
I didn't want to have to do this. But it looks like you still can't control your agents.
Bond, I ran that check. Looks like you've had dealings with him before. Quantum.
Of course, Mr. White. Bond is running wild. Who's to say he hasn't been turned? Pull him in.
Aha.
What is it?
It's your inheritance. Also?
Huh. Maybe I misjudged Stromberg. Any man who drinks Dom Perignon 52 can't be all bad.
It's you. Who are you working for?
One of us smells like a tart's handkerchief. I'm afraid it's me. Sorry about that, old boy.
Do you know how to use one of these?
Yes.
Good.
We've seen Bond in a white dinner jacket plenty of times, but this classic look with the red flower is so reminiscent of Goldfinger.
Hello. I thought you might like to join the party.
Shit.
What do we do now?
Bond has had several train fights, but the one in Live and Let Die has the most obvious similarities. Jaws survived his train defeat in The Spy Who Loved Me, so I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Hinks also returns in another film. The fourth wall joke about nothing to do is another recurring classic for Bond.
I still don't see why you want to travel this way. I mean, what the hell can the two of you do on the train for 16 hours?
There's really nothing very much for us to do tonight. Or is there? And meanwhile, how do you kill 5 hours in Rio if you don't samba?
That is a 1948 Rolls-Royce Silver Wraith.
This car is, of course, strikingly similar to the 1958 Silver Wraith, which Karim Bey uses to convey Bond in From Russia with Love.
She's a beauty. Phantom 337, isn't she?
You are a clever, resourceful man, Mr. Bond.
Well, thank you.
Perhaps too clever.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Upon arrival at the villain's headquarters, Bond is, of course, held captive, but a masquerade of luxurious hospitality is maintained, a recurring theme that was most memorable in its first instance.
Come in. You poor dears. We simply didn't know when to expect you. First it was tea time yesterday, and then dinner. And it was only half an hour ago we really knew you were on your way.
Cigarette? These are American, those English, and those Turkish. I'm Sister Rose. This is Sister Lily. We're here to make your stay as pleasant as possible.
That's really most kind of you. But for the moment...
Of course. You'll be wanting to see your rooms. Breakfast is already ordered, and then you want to sleep.
The very meteorite which made this crater. Think about it. So many years up there, alone, silent, building momentum until it chose to make its mark on Earth. A huge, unstoppable force.
Except it did stop, didn't it? Right here.
The glass is convex, 10 inches thick, which accounts for the magnifying effect.
Minnows pretending they're whales. Just like you on this island, Dr. No.
It depends, Mr. Bond, on which side of the glass you are.
So, James, why did you come?
I came here to kill you.
And I thought you came here to die.
Well, it's all a matter of perspective.
Transfer orbital power. Internal power transferred. Activate hydraulics. Hydraulics activated. Activate auxiliary power unit.
I don't think you quite understand.
No, I think I do. You set cities on fire and watch innocent people burn, so you can convince governments to join an intelligence network you paid for. It's not that complicated.
You see, we're both men of action, but your era and Miss Lynn's is passing. Words are the new weapons. Satellites, the new artillery.
And you become the new Supreme Allied Commander?
Exactly. Caesar had his legions, Napoleon had his armies. I have my divisions. TV, news, magazines. And by midnight tonight, I'll have reached and influenced more people than anyone in the history of this planet, save God himself. And the best he ever managed was a Sermon on the Mount.
You really are quite insane.
I'm guessing our little friend C, he's one of your disciples.
You could say that.
What does he get out of it?
Nothing. He's a visionary like me.
Visionaries. Psychiatric wards are full of them.
World domination. Same old dream. Our asylums are full of people who think they're Napoleon or God.
Or did you think it was coincidence that all the women in your life ended up dead?
What if you find forgiveness in the arms of all those willing women? For all the dead ones you failed to protect.
Me. It was all me, James. It's always been me, the author of all your pain.
I get a kick out of watching the great James Bond find out what a bloody fool he's been making of himself.
We're pros, Mr. Bond. We sweated your recognition code out of one of your men in Tokyo before he died. I've been keeping tabs on you. I've been your guardian angel. Saved your life at the gypsy camp.
So long.
Do you recognize him?
No, who is he?
The man I loved. He was in Garden 3 weeks ago. Did you kill him?
So, James, I'm going to penetrate to where you are.
5 more turns and your neck will break.
The daughter of an assassin. The only one who could have understood him.
Shame.
I understand you're Mr. Largo's niece.
Mr. Bond, may I introduce my daughter, Teresa?
Contessa.
My protege, a sure winner in the next Olympics.
Franz Oberhauser died 20 years ago, James. In an avalanche alongside his father. The man you're talking to now, the man inside your head, is Ernst Stavro Blofeld.
Allow me to introduce myself. I am Ernst Stavro Blofeld. They told me you were assassinated in Hong Kong.
Yes, this is my second life.
You only live twice, Mr. Bond.
He soothed the wounds of the poor little blue-eyed orphan. Asked me to treat him as a brother. My little brother. They formed quite an attachment.
I have to protect my son.
Dad, I'm fine.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about him.
What? Dr. Evil's not your son. I am.
You both are.
Brady wears the latest version Omega Seamaster 300 meter, model always worn by Brosnan.
Can't hear you, James.
I said, doesn't time fly?
New model. Still press here, do I?
I have a backup plan.
Uh-huh. So do I.
Now, new watch. This will be your 20th, I believe.
How time flies.
In there! Come on!
This is a reference beyond the films. The Hildebrand rarity was one of Bond's literary adventures. In Die Another Day, we see Bond stumble upon a birdwatching book and then masquerade as an ornithologist as cover for his mission. Ian Fleming created the name James Bond when he stumbled upon the birdwatching book. It was the author's name.
It's time for you to die.
How predictably moronic. But then, isn't that what M stands for? Moron.
And now we know what C stands for. Careless.
I know where you keep your gun.
What is it?
He put a sheet of invisible glass between us.
No hard feelings, Mr. Bond. But we're even. Soon, you'll feel nothing at all.
In 3 minutes, this building will be demolished. Well, I can get out easily. Now you have a choice. Die trying to save her, or save yourself and live with the pain.
I set the time as for 6 minutes. Same 6 minutes you gave me. It was the least I could do for a friend.
What does that mean?
We've got 3 minutes.
Bond risks his life here to save the girl, much like him re-entering the collapsing ice hotel in Die Another Day to save Jinx. It also has some similarity to Diamonds Are Forever, where Blofeld kidnaps Tiffany while she's alone, and his henchmen later try to blow up Bond and Tiffany together.
Take the wheel.
Without those drums, the boat must be lighter. We can go
And your
faster.
Blackberry pistol.
Keep your hands up, Mr. Bond. We're sending a boat along to take you off.
In the final fight, Bond usually kills the main villain,
Finish it.
armed or not. Yet Bond unusually spares Blofeld here. He did this also in For Your Eyes Only and Quantum of Solace, although in both of those cases the villain dies very soon anyway.
No, Melina. That's not the answer. We'll turn him over to the Greek police.
The storyline of Blofeld's pursuit in SPECTRE is much like Zorin's in A View to a Kill. Zorin leaves Bond and the girl to die in a big explosion, then makes his getaway in an airship, which is disabled by Bond when they reach a famous bridge. Then he gets out for a final duel. When Bond and Madeline ignore the police all around them, this is the formulaic conclusion to a Bond film. And yet it doesn't end here. We see an additional scene afterwards, suggesting that it must have some special significance to the next film. Bond and Madeline driving away together is very reminiscent of Bond and Tracy driving away from their wedding at the end of On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Tracy was originally meant to die in the next film, but her death was brought forward on account of Lazenby's involvement coming to doubt.
You know I haven't given you a wedding present yet?
I had an idea about that. 3 girls, 3 boys. Pleased?
Not bad for a start. But darling, now we have all the time in the world.
Despite throwing his pistol off London Bridge and driving away into the sunset, Lazenby style, Bond seemingly isn't retiring after all, or at least we can expect him to return to duty during his next film. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. I've shown similarities between Spectre and every other Bond film. I omitted some similarities because they were just obvious features of the formula. The formula for making a Bond film will be the basis of my next video, so subscribe if you want to see that. Until then, goodbye.